What's going on, guys? Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday so far. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can make cracks like this on any object. And there's multiple hits for the crack. So like if you hit it once, it does like slightly cracked and then it becomes more cracked and then it eventually blows up. The visual effect could maybe be better at the end, but that's not the point of this video. We're also going to make the barrel and we're going to make the script, and it also drops a coin and the chain lightning blows it up. So we're going to cover all of that in this video. If you guys are enjoying my series, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And as per usual, the entire project is available for download from my Dropbox for free in the description of the video. Also, the barrel is available, the cracks are available, everything that you see in the video is available to download separately. So if you just want to use something like that in your game, you're welcome to download it from the description of the video for free. And yeah. All right, so here we are in Blender, and we're just going to delete everything that starts in Blender. If you press Shift A on your keyboard, you can add a cylinder. So go to Mesh, Cylinder. On the left, you can click this little droppy down thing and just turn it into 12 cuts to change how many like cuts there are in like the cylinder. And then you can press Tab on your keyboard to go into edit mode, and you can press G and Z to move it up to the starting point, like the bottom of the thing. And you want to do this in edit mode, so the origin is at the bottom of the barrel, and then you can select all these top vertices and press G and Z to move them up, and then press Control R to make a loop cut in the middle of the barrel and press enter. Then you can scale this out. You can make this kind of absurdly big, so it kind of looks dumb like this, but when you bevel it, it's just going to like cut down on how much this is. So if you press Control B, you can bevel this and you can see that it cuts away some of this, and then you can do like this, and this makes it more of a rounded barrel. So I'm going to be making this a little bit different than the one I've already made. The one that I have already isn't really rounded, so this is kind of different. So we're going to go to the line select or edge select here, and we can select these two lines and press Control B to bevel them. And after you bevel them, you can scroll down on your mouse wheel so that they don't have any cuts at all. And then you can press Shift D to duplicate these, and then right click so they don't move from the starting point. Then you can press P to separate them by the selection. This puts them into their own object. And you can press Tab on your keyboard to go into object mode, select the barrel, press F2, type in barrel. And then for the other object, you can press F2 and call this barrel ring things. They're just like the metal parts that go around the edges of the barrel. You can press Tab on the rings, press A to select everything, Alt and E, and extrude edges or extrude faces along normals, and just give it some thickness so that they are looking good. So this is pretty cool so far. And so then we need to go to object mode, select the main barrel, and the main thing that is important is the top of this. Now, in the one that I have in the scene already, I put lines in it like it's wood, but I don't think I'm going to do that with this one. I will maybe do something more like this. So if we select this, we can press I to inset this, and then we can press I would like to just move it up a little bit so it like has like a seam thing in the middle. Let's see if we can select these points and just press J to join them. Then they should meet somewhere in the middle like this. I'm sure there's some type of like tool that does this automatically. That's obviously the wrong one. So this one goes here. Okay, and just select this middle vertex and just press M and then at center. I'm not sure if there's any vertices there or not, but we don't want any extra vertices. So like if it's cutting across and it's not perfect exact straight, it might actually make more vertices and you just can't see them because they're so close together. So then we're going to take this and can we, it'd be cool if we could loop cut this too. We're just actually going to press K to get the knife tool, and we're going to make another little ring thing here. Like this. Again, there's probably better ways of doing this. I don't really know, but so then we can select this point that's in the middle, and we'll go to proportional editing at the top here, and then we'll press 1 on the keyboard so we get like a side view so that it would be going perfectly straight up. And then you can press G on your keyboard and just move this up very, very slightly so that it's not perfect. And you can see that this makes like this little circly thing at the top of this, and it's going to look cooler like that. The one that I have it already, oh, I don't have a barrel in this scene anymore. Let me just make myself another barrel. So you can see that this one I used wooden planks. I'm going to upload both of these at the end. So if you want, you can use the one that I'm making now, or you can use this one. But the thing is, it's like a top down game. So you really only see kind of the top of the barrel more. And it's, I think I like the way this looks better. We'll see. I'm not too sure. All right, so the last thing we want to do with the barrel before we start painting it is if we press to turn off the rings by using this little eyeball thing up here, and then we just want to shade this smooth. So we don't want these lines, but we do want these lines. So we want to get rid of these lines. So if we can just actually select a vertical one. So you hold Alt and click on these lines, and then hold Shift and Alt and click on these, and that's probably not going to work. So what we need to do is if we right click this, we can mark this sharp, I think. Edge, mark sharp. Is that Alt K to do that? I'm not sure. Let's see. Alt K. Anyway, let's just get, oh, what did I do? That's not what I wanted. Anyway, edge, mark sharp. Oops, no. Okay, and then, oh, this did the top. I didn't actually want that. So we want to select these lines on the top. We don't want these to be sharp. Okay, let's just do this. So if you select this one and press Control and select this one, you can go into Edge again and clear sharp. And we're just going to do this for all of them. Okay, and now we just want to put a ring around the edge here because the whole top will become wrong. So we just need to do this. So we will mark this sharp as well. Like that. Okay, let's see how it goes now. So if we shade smooth, you can see the top is still flat. The bottom actually needs to be marked as sharp as well. So select this ring around the bottom and you can go to edge and mark sharp. And then if you right click, you can shade smooth and you can see that it kept the lines and it got rid of the sideways lines. And I'm not 100% sure I like that, but I already have a barrel, so you can leave the other ones if you want to. You could also shade it auto smooth. I didn't really like how that looked either. The other thing you could maybe do is add a bevel to this to make the edges more rounded. So like if you select maybe these rings to start with and you go bevel, you could add a bevel which rounds the edges, and then you could turn the segments up to 3. And then we really want to get rid of all of these lines in this. So this actually should be auto smooth so that the edges, like those little creases, don't happen. And that's looking pretty cool. And let's see if we can bevel this too. I'm not sure if this will work or not. Okay, so it kind of did, but we don't want that much of a bevel, just a little bit. And again, segments can go up to 3. This just kind of rounds the edges and makes it look cooler. So that's great. And then So then we want to cut this into different objects that we're going to paint on. So let's get rid of the barrel rings for now, because those are probably going to be fine just with the auto system. So we need to make UVs for us to paint on. So if you go to the UV editing tab at the top, you can press 7 on your keyboard, and then we just need to select the whole top of this. So go into face select, and you can select the middle part, and you can, no. Oh, because I got a new computer. Well, I didn't get a new computer. I fixed my computer by replacing the CPU. My Blender settings got reset. There's an expand option somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. It should be expand selection. File, edit, preferences, map, expand channels. This is installed. Expand collapse law. Select more. That's it. Okay, so this wants you to use the numpad plus, but I'm just gonna actually make this my minus button instead. And you could just make it whatever you want, but we're gonna use select more to expand the selection. So if you select these and you press minus, anyway, it's probably something else. It's just taking too long, so we'll just do it this way. But anyway, so we just want to unwrap this so that it takes up no, we want this all on the same thing. Let's just see how it looks right now. So the edges are at the top. This is already pretty good, to be honest. This unwrap is actually perfect already the way that it is. So the top will be easy to paint on, and then we could do it all in the same picture instead of having multiple pictures. Okay, let's see how the barrel ring things look like. So let's turn them back on and select them and go to edit mode. We could maybe unwrap project. I mean, that takes up more of the space. Well, it works for me. Okay, so now we need two materials. We need one for the barrel and one for this. And so we want to just apply these modifiers first. So let's go back here and we will press Control A over top of the modifiers. Make sure you apply them in the same order so the top one first and then the second one. If you don't, it will cause problems. So let's go back here and just make sure that this still is looking good. Okay, so let's go to the shading tab at the top. And we just want to click on the barrel. Make sure you have the barrel selected. And then on the right, we could go to materials and click new. And we will call this barrel material. And from here at the bottom, you can press Shift A and type in image. And we will drag the color of the image into the base color of the principal BDSF. We're going to press new on this. And we'll just call this barrel picture. And we're only going to do 256 by 256. And so if you drag down, you can actually change both of these numbers at the same time. In the color area, just pick a color that is like kind of wooden. Maybe like a little bit brighter, and it should be brown. I don't know, that works, whatever, right? And so hit new, and so that will work. And then we want to turn down the roughness of this because wood is, turn up the roughness. Wood doesn't usually have like reflections unless it's like glossy wood, but we're not putting gloss on the wood. It's not going to be used for that. So that's good for that. And then we want to click on the barrel ring things, click new. We can call this barrel ring things material. And then we will do the same thing where we add an image and we can hit new barrel ring things picture. And then we'll just set, instead of brown, we just want this to be more of a gray. So something like that. Actually, this looks like it's still kind of brown. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So then we can do that, bring the color to the base color. You can turn up the metallic because it's metallic, and turn up the roughness a little bit. We don't want this to be really shiny, but we do want it to be metallic-y a little bit. So like maybe like that, I don't know. Okay, so that's good enough for now. Let's select the barrel. Make sure you have barrel material selected and you have the barrel selected, and then go to the texture paint screen. And then we're going to turn off the barrel ring things. And now we want to paint it so that it's not like just all the same color. So at the bottom, so this is the newer version of Blender. The paintbrushes are at the bottom here. So we're going to choose Paint Soft. If you don't have this option at the bottom, you just have to choose this drop down and find Paint Soft. If there's no Paint Soft, if you're using a super older version of Blender, it'll be over here on the right, and you can just copy these settings. You can create your own brush on the right. That's what this right side does. So you can create a brush and then you can change the mix. So blend is mix, radius 50. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it should be there, but if it's not, that sucks. So anyway, so we just want to paint this. So we want dark around the creases of the edges, and we want light in the middle. So it's a lot easier to just do light in the middle. So select this black color on the left and click the eyedropper and select somewhere from the UV map on the left. Don't select it from here because the lighting will affect it. So if you do this and you select from here, you can see that that's a different color. So you want to select from the UV map on the left here. And you can turn the radius down to like 35 maybe. And so we just want to take the color that we did and make it a little bit lighter. Not too much lighter, but so this will be used to brighten up the center of the wooden panels that are around the barrel. And this, we're going to be using this painting technique for a lot of things in the game just because it's super easy. And I'm not using a drawing tablet or anything like that. So this makes it really easy to kind of paint this type of thing without having to be too precise. So let's go ahead and paint this all the way around. And we're going to use the same color on the top as well. And maybe the bottom, I don't know. We're not going to be making the barrel explode into pieces. So the bottom probably doesn't even really need to be painted because you won't ever see it. But try to do a better job than I'm doing. Jeez. Keep it in the lines. Okay. Okay, and then just in the middle, this can go all the way around, kind of not to the very edge, but pretty close. Yeah, so that's looking okay. If you have any terrible, like, if it looks really bad in any spots, you can fix those spots by clicking the blur option. So, like, if you have like things where you've really done it wrong, you can just go over it with the blur and it makes it softer, so it's less visible. So like, the blur just basically blurs the colors together, so it blends them. So if you go around the edges with this, you can see that it kind of takes away that sharp line. And so if you have that in any of these panels, you can use that to kind of fix any drawing imperfections that you might have had. So let's go back to the painting one. And this one just needs to go up a little bit more. And we could do this with a lot of them. It's very shiny. I'm not going to bother changing the settings. This video is going to be too long if I go into the settings right now. All of my settings got reset because I had to replace my CPU. And when I replaced my CPU, I had to reinstall Blender and I didn't save any of the settings. So this is going to be the third tint of color. We're only going to do 3, but so it's just a little tiny bit lighter, not too much lighter. And we just want to do like the middle area of this with this color. And I don't know if you can see the difference or not, but there is definitely a difference. So you can see it on the left. Like if you look over here, you can see like the middle part's getting a little bit brighter and it just makes it like a 3 shade thing and it adds a lot to it. So let's do this. Okay, and I have no idea if I've been all the way around yet or not. So let's keep going. Okay, we're definitely all the way around. Okay, and then we just want to take maybe a darker shade and go over like the edges. Now, we don't want the brush to be that big for this one, so maybe we'll do like 20 and no, that's going to make it look bad. Okay, so maybe at the top here, just a little bit around the edges so that it kind of bleeds over. This dark part is probably not necessary. I'm not too sure, to be honest. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Again, you're not going to have like this much light reflecting off of it in the game. We're going to turn the roughness down in Unity, so you won't be able to see like shiny. It won't be this noticeable. And these parts, like this is just a Blender thing where it's like making it all shiny. You can change that with like the matte cap or the settings or whatever. But again, we don't really have time for that. So let's turn off the barrel. And we'll go back to shading. We'll select the barrel ring things. We'll turn them on, and then we'll go back to texture paint. So make sure you have barrel ring things picture at the top and barrel ring things picture on the left here. And then we're going to do the same thing. So if you do this, you can select this color over here on the left, just make it a little bit lighter. And we just want to do the middle of the rings the same way. And you could technically overlap the rings on the left and then you could paint them at the same time without having to do this for both of them, but I'm not going to bother with that. I don't think it really matters. So it looks like here we somehow overlapped or something went wrong. So we're going to do the edges darker, so we'll just fix it after. But this is a UV map problem. We should have done, we should have probably added a seam and unwrapped it through the seam way instead of just using the smart UV project. And we might have to do that. Let's just see. Okay, so that's great. And then we just want to do a little bit lighter than that as well for the middle. So it's kind of like a 2 thing. And we are going to blur this, by the way. So don't worry too much about the how perfect it is. And then we just want to, oh, we have to do the top one as well. Okay, and then we're just going to take a darker one as well and go around like the actual edges. So like this, especially this top one where it looks like I somehow overlapped the colors. And then at the bottom here, we'll just do it like this. I hope that my clicking on my mouse is not too loud on the mic. So this, and don't worry about getting it on the inside because you won't be able to see the inside of this. So you can see it bleeding over onto the back of the other side. It doesn't matter. And then very quick. Again, this is a top-down game, so the detail on this is not going to be near, like, it's visible in Blender, but it won't be as visible inside of the actual game. So let's go to blur, and we can just blur some of these edges so that they're not, like, so jaggedy. It's more meant to be like a gradient with a lighter middle. It's not meant to be, like, there's not supposed to be any jagged parts like that there. Okay, and then just the bottom one as well. And yeah, you don't really have to, like, don't worry about where you're blending. Again, this is like a top down thing and it's going to be a rough material. We're not going to be using any like shininess. So like you're not going to be able to see it as much as you can here in Blender. So this is pretty much it for painting this. Let's just blur this a little bit more. Actually, let's go over it from further away because it's not looking the greatest. I don't know. I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so let's turn back the barrel back on. So I think this barrel is actually looking a lot better than the one that I already have in the game. So the next thing we need to do is let's save this before we lose it. So let's save this. And I'm just going to put it in my downloads folder and I'll call this, let's make a new folder specifically for this tutorial. So we'll call this barrel tutorial folder. And inside of this, we can save this as barrel 2025-03-18. I like to put the date in the things lately just because that makes it easier to find the things that I've been working on. And then if I have a barrel and I make another barrel tomorrow and I make another barrel the day after, I can know which barrel was the last barrel that I was working on. So then I can, we want to export this as an FBX file as well. So let's just select both pieces and click export FBX on the left here. And let's go to that folder that we just made and change the scaling to FBX unit scale. And then you could turn off animate. There's no animation, so it shouldn't matter. So I think that's it. So click export FBX. And then we also need to save the textures that we made. So there's the barrel picture, which is this one. So you can click image, save as, and then we're already in the barrel tutorial folder. So you can save that. And then in the drop down here, you can click on barrel ring thing picture. You don't need to change the model for this, like over here, and just click image, save as, and then barrel ring thing picture. You can save it. And I think that's it for the Blender portion of this. Again, there's a lot of barrel tutorial videos, and we're going to be adding cracks to the barrel, and you can actually add the cracks to any barrel. So if you like the way that a different barrel looks in a different video, you can totally just go and follow that video and then come back for the crack section of this. And that's what we're going to import this into Unity, and then we're going to set up the script for that right now. Okay, so here we are back in Unity, and we just need to drag in these files that we made. So everything except for, so just the FBX file and the 2 pictures, actually. So not the blend file. And so from there, you can drag the barrel right into the scene. And we need to make this a lot bigger. So if you press the lock key button on the right here, you can just make it bigger and then maybe get a top down view of it. So that's a little bit too big. Maybe that's perfect. And I like the roundedness of this barrel a lot more because the other one is not as rounded because I didn't expect the bevel to take away that much of the rounding, and just bring it up just slightly. And you could do this in Blender by moving the origin a little bit lower, and that might actually be a good idea. So if you have the time, you could go back and make the origin a little bit below the bottom of it so that it's actually on top of the floor, because the floor takes up space because it has a width. So that's why it's under. But anyway, so we need to create the materials for this. So if we right click this, we can click prefab unpack because we don't want to be editing the model. And then if you right click at the bottom, you can click create material, and we'll just call this barrel material. And then so you can take the barrel picture, which is the drawing that we did, and put it into the base map of this material that we just made. And then you could drag the material right onto the barrel. And you can see that it gets this nice texture. And if you look at it from the top down, I think it looks pretty good. So we also need to do the metal. So let's do that. So create material, barrel, metal. And we can drag the barrel ring thing picture into that one. You could drag this onto the barrel ring things from this. So you could just take the metal, drop it right here, and that's looking great. This will not take the metal values from Blender. So in Blender, when we were painting this, we turned up the metallic a lot, and we could maybe turn up the smoothness maybe just a touch, not a lot though. And then you might want to make this darker inside of your game. So you can see that this is kind of pretty light. So this is personal preference. You could just do this however you like. Maybe you want it to be black. Maybe black that's too much black. Maybe that's a good color. I don't know. Anyway, so let's press play and actually go walk near it, because I find the scene view, it doesn't actually show like what it will look like. So I think this looks way better than the one that I previously made. I'm probably going to use this one in the actual game. I think the top part was not well done in the other one. And because it's a top-down game, the top matters the most of it. All of the characters and stuff that you're making, you have to make it from a top-down perspective because you can see the top. So now we need to add all of the things that are part of the barrel. So we need like a collider for the barrel. We need to add the script to the barrel. We need to be able to damage the barrel. So now we're going to do that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is if you select your barrel on the left here, you can click add component and add a cylinder collider or some type of collider, capsule collider, that's what it's called. And you just want to do this in the scene view because you can click the edit collider button and just drag this. And instead of dragging it, you can just drag the radius to be larger. That way it expands perpendicularly or whatever. I don't know. And we just want this to be perfectly going around the barrel. It doesn't need to be larger than it. We're not adding a rigid body to the barrel, so you don't need to worry about it interacting with like the ground or anything like that. It's just going to be static and just staying still. So this is great. And then we need to draw a picture for the effects. So like when we're hitting the barrels, it's getting this like scratches effect, and we need to draw a picture that actually accomplishes that. So at the bottom, if you go sorry, not at the bottom. If you go to the internet, you can download an app. It's called Krita. It's completely free. And we can use this to make seamless textures. And there's a lot of pre-made brushes that we can use to actually draw cracks. So let's do this. So this is the picture that I made already. Let's click new. So in the new screen, you just want to make the width and the height the same because we want it to be seamless in both directions, upwards and left to right. So we'll click create after we've done that. And then at the top here, you can click view and go to wraparound mode. This makes it so that it wraps around. So when you get to the right side, it automatically goes to the other side, which makes it seamless so that the texture, if it repeats, will perfectly align on the opposite side from where it is. This is so useful for game development. So we're going to turn up the size of the cracks to be really large. And then you can just click in places, make sure it's kind of evenly spaced, and we want some dark ones everywhere. And so this could maybe be, hang on, we don't want this big one in the middle. We want this to be like more like this. Okay. So this can be the first one. So after you've created some scratches, I'm using the scratch brush, which if you look on the brush presets on the right, you can just scroll down from this. It's a default brush. So you don't have to pay anything for this. It's built into Krita. There's a scratch brush. It's pretty cool. So you can use that. There's a lot of brushes, and there's also brushes you can download from the internet. So go crazy. I'm sure you can find a cool brush to do this with. And so we're just going to save, sorry, not save. We want to export this. So we're going to export this and make sure you just put it into the barrel folder that you had before. And we will call this scratches one and .png. You got to put .png or else it's going to pick a file or whatever. Saving as a PNG will lose information. Doesn't matter. So just export this. And then to make your second scratches, you just click a couple more times until there's more scratches essentially. And then you go file, export again, and we'll call this scratches 2. So that was it for drawing the scratches. So now we can take those 2 scratches that we just made and we can dump them into our project. And now, so we need to apply these as a normal map onto our thing. So if you select both of these, you can change them into a normal map and click apply on them. And so this makes them yellow. And now we need to make a shader graph so that to apply this onto here, we want this to be applied to the barrel, but we only want it to be applied after the barrel's hit. We don't want it to be applied right away. So if you click barrel material, you could take the scratches and you could technically put it into the normal map. And you can see that this doesn't really look great. And on top of that, it's applied always. So the material will constantly have that on it. And we don't want that. We only want it after it's been hit. So if you right click in the open area at the bottom, you can create a URP lit shader graph. And we'll call this barrel shader graph tutorial, or call it whatever you want to. It doesn't matter, right? So the barrel material, if you click on this, we want to change the shader at the top to be the barrel shader graph tutorial that we just made. And so you can see that that immediately took away the coloring for the barrel, which is fine. So if you double click on the shader graph tutorial, and I'm just going to drag it out so that it takes up a lot more room. Let's turn off the blackboard and the graph inspector. This is the shader graph. So this is what we can use to apply these scratches and have it be only when we hit the barrel that this happens. So if you drag scratches 1 into this area, it will automatically convert it into a sample texture 2D. And the space that it's in is defaults to tangent, but we don't actually want that. We want that to be object. So that way it looks a lot better like this. And we'll take the RGBA and put that into the normal section of this. And then the other thing we need to do is take the barrel picture, which is the actual like the coloring of the barrel. You see that it's lost. It's white now. We don't want it to be white. So this will make this go back to the way that it was. And then the metallic and smoothness are gone again. So we want the smoothness to be turned down just a little bit because we don't want any reflections on the barrel. So if we save this, now you can see that it has cracks, but the cracks look a lot better than they did. And if you go to the game view, it looks pretty cool like this. So let's go back to this. So the way that we can make it so that when we hit the barrel is we need to record the number of times that we've hit the barrel. So let's get rid of this connection to the normal. And so we're going to go to the blackboard. The blackboard is where you add variables into your shader graph that you can edit with it inside of your code. So if you click plus, we can add a float to this. We'll call this hits. So then we want to add hits to this. And hits is actually going to go on the right of this shader graph. So if we put this into a comparison node as A, and we compare this with 1, and then we can put this into the predicate of a branch node. So true can be this, and false can be, we want it to actually be white, not black, because we're going to add these together. And so if you make it black and you add it together, it's going to mess everything up. So, so we have our sample texture 2D, and we have this branch node. And so you can see that if the hits becomes 1, then this is applied. And if it hits a 0, then this is not applied. So then we can drag this into an add node. And then we'll put this into the normal. Okay, so then we need to double this because we have two pictures. So we want this one to be if it gets hit once, but if it gets hit more than one time, we want it to display the second picture. And we're going to make it greater than instead of equal. So we could do the same thing with equal to, or we could just take this, paste it. So if you copy paste it, it will automatically connect hits to it. And you could just change this to greater. So if it's greater than one, then it's going to do this. And then the this is going to go as a predicate for a branch node as well. And we want the same thing. So if we drag in scratches to here, we can change this to object as well. And we can drag this into the true field. And then again, the false field should be one across the board. So just you could change this to one. And we're going to add these together. And so then if you change hits, so if you click hits and you go one, you can see this is one, and then this is two, where they combine together. So if we press save on this, we can go into the material, which is the barrel material. And because we have this input thing, we can do 0, which doesn't have any cracks, 1, and then 2. That looks pretty good. I think because we're adding this, if you actually add 0 instead, it won't add the white part. It will just add the red. So let's see about that. So let's do, what's it look like if we do this? So you can see that this keeps the darkness of it. So let's save it like that. Honestly, I don't think it really matters. Let's do both of them at 0. How does that look? Yeah, because we're adding a complete. So 1111 means we're adding white to it, so it becomes lighter shade and actually gets rid of the cracks. So let's dock this at the top and go into the scene view, and these cracks probably need to be darker. Or we could multiply them, or we could use a height from normal map or something like that, maybe. But anyway, let's just see. So if we do 0, okay, so 0 will be completely dark now because we're adding, oops. Okay, so 0 will be completely dark now because we're adding, we're not adding white to this equation at all. So if both of these are false, let's change it in here. Now it's completely black and the black will go into the normal map, but we want this to be white. So if there is nothing, we could just make one of these white and that will fix it. So that way it's zeroed out. And then if it's 2, it's still going to be like this. That it's fine. Honestly, I don't think it really matters. So if we put it like this, and then we do 1, 2, the second one is a lot lighter. So let's actually just do 1 across the board here as well. Okay, and then so in the game, you can see that adds cracks, and that's probably good enough. We could multiply this. So if you take this add, you could put this into normal from height in, and then change this to like a 1 or something, and then put this into the normal. I don't know if that will work or not. No, because this is red and it works with, I think, white and black. So you would have to take instead of this being a normal, let's copy it for a sec so I can show you. So if you do, instead of having this a normal, you could do default. Wait, aren't the scratches black? Oh, because we have this converted to a normal map in here. So the scratches input. So we would have to take this, copy paste it, call this scratches not normal, and then change it from a normal map to the default. And then we could apply this, and then we could delete this sample texture, and we could take scratches not normal, and we could put this as the black into the in of this. And then you can see this actually generates like a real normal map, and then you could put this on there. And this adds more detail to it, so it becomes more cut out, but 1 is way too much. Let's just try 0.5. Yeah, so it's too much, and I like the way that the other one looks better. So with it like this, so let's just put this not to the base color. Whoops, to the normal, and we could multiply this output. by 0.1. No, because that gets rid of the white. Maybe power node? Yeah, so if you put this into a power node, it will take the dark sections and increase them. And let's put it to the power of 3 instead. Make it a little bit darker. So I don't know. It's still just a normal. So you could okay, let's try something else. Hang on. Let's um instead of doing that, let's put this back here. And then let's put this out to here and we'll put replace color from sorry, this should be the in, not the from. Oh my goodness, what have I done? Get rid of this. So this can be the in, and so we'll take this color that we want to replace, which is any of the red colors, and then the range is like how different it could be. So like let's do that, and we can just increase this until this all goes black. And so with this all black, we could take this and we could add it with the sample texture. And this is turning into a mess, I know, but if you oh, because the white. So we also need to replace the white with nothing. This needs to be a multiply instead of an add. That's the problem. So let's do multiply. Because the white multiplied by the color that already exists will be the same. So we could do that. And then you could put this into the base color. And the base color can have scratches as well so that they're darker. And then let's put this back to the top. I should have probably not done this so like overlapping or whatever. So basically we're taking the output of the add for the normal and we're putting it into a replace color to get rid of the red and replace it with black again because this is a normal map, but the only difference is that the normal map is red in the cracks instead of black because of the way that it works. And so we're taking the output of the replace color and the range is how different the color can be from this. So all of these reds are not exactly the same. Some of them are lighter and some of them are darker. Like they're actually like kind of like a gradient. It's not all the exact same shade of red. So we're replacing this with a difference of color of 1.5. So in case it's not the same exact shade of red, this is how the range of like how much would be accepted. And then we're putting this output into a multiply. We're multiplying this by the normal color and put this to the base color. So if we save this and let's put it back up here, now the different colors will be more visible. I don't know if I'm going to keep it like this or not. We'll see. So if we do, let's see what 0 looks like. So 0 is good. 1 looks like that. 2 looks super cracked. I am going to leave it like this. Honestly, I think that looks pretty good. And then anything above 2 will be just like cracks like this is as well. So let's put it back to 0. And now we need the script that actually does this. So I'm going to put the script that I already made onto the barrel because this video is already like probably like an hour. So it's pretty long. And let me just find my penny in here. I'll put this into this slot. So let's take a look at the script together. This script, so to create a new script for yourself, what you can do is if you right click in the open space, you can click create C# script, and then you can drag your script onto the barrel. And let's go ahead and take a look at the script. Okay, so the script is going to take a few things. So we've got the barrel, the explosion, which we haven't made yet. And we've got this penny, which we've inputted, which is from a previous video, we handled drops. So if you don't have a drop, you can skip this part. But we have a penny that we're going to add to be having a chance of dropping the penny. And then the number of hits is going to be here as well. So to start, we find the barrel and the barrel explosion inside of it. So you can see inside the barrel, this is where we attach the script. And this is the actual barrel itself that has this material attached to it because there's the barrel and the barrel rings. So that's that. And so we're going to have to make a barrel explosion at some point. I'll probably just show you the one I already made. Again, this video is really, really long. So let's just skip the blow up method for now. So on collision enter, if the name of the collision doesn't have attack in it, we're going to return. This will prevent my character. So let's say my stick wizard walks into the barrel, I don't want the barrel to get damaged from the character walking into it. So I've made it so that only when the word attack is in the name, because when I swing my staff here, I'll show you. This is actually going to throw an error at the bottom. It's okay. When I swing my staff and do an attack, you can see that there's the word attack in the attack. And so when my character walks into this, this will prevent it from actually damaging it. So if it gets hit and it is an attack, it will increment the hits variable, which we declared up here, which is the number. And then we're getting this float from the shader graph. So this barrel, which is here, has a mesh renderer attached to it, which has this material as the only material. And we're setting the float of hit number to the number of hits. So in this case, it would become 1. And this hit number, you can see it has an underscore in front of it, because inside of the shader graph, if you click on this, the reference has underscore in front of it. So when you go to reference this, you have to use the variable name from this reference field, not the actual name. So by default, that's the same name with an underscore in front of it. But yeah, so you have to reference this, and then we're changing the hit number to be this. So after the first hit, this is going to be 1. So that will change the picture of what's on the barrel to be the same as like what I showed with you, having the hit 1 on the material or whatever, right? And then if the hits is greater than 2, like, so if we hit this twice and then we go and hit it a third time, it becomes greater than 2, and then we do this blow up effect. Otherwise, we play this barrel hit sound, which I've just downloaded this from pixabay.com. There's free sounds off of that website. You can download them for free. And so if this is greater than 2, then we're blowing up the barrel. So we're instantiating this explosion, which is a visual effect that I'm gonna show you the effect that I made for this. And we're instantiating it at the position of the barrel. And the rotation doesn't matter because it's just an explosion that goes out in all directions. We're setting the size of it to be 4 because when I made the visual effect, it's really small. And we were putting this onto a barrel. So depending on the size of the barrel, you could resize this. And then we're activating it. So this will make it play because it's play on activation because it's disabled by default. And then we're destroying this explosion after 3 seconds so that it doesn't remain in our hierarchy forever. If the random value, so our random value is a number between 0 and 1, and it's a decimal number. So if there's a 30% chance that it will do this, this is dropping a coin, which we covered in a previous video that we did on drops. It's in my video list. So if you haven't watched that, you can go watch it. But basically, we're just instantiating a penny, which we can walk over and get a coin. And then we're adding force to the penny so it goes flying when it comes out of the thing and it doesn't just fall directly on the ground. If the barrel is blowing up, it plays this other barrel sound that I've got. I'll touch both of these to the description of the video. So there's barrel hit 1, which is you hitting the barrel. And there's barrel hit 2, which is the barrel exploding. And then we're destroying the barrel because when we play the explosion, we don't want the barrel to be there anymore. We only want the explosion to be there. So then the very last segment of the script, the other day we made a video about how to make chain lightning in Unity. And so if we have something like chain lightning where there's an explosion and we want all the barrels that it hits to be destroyed, this is our chain lightning script from the other day. So this, I can't go over this. This will take way, way too long for it to actually, I made a whole video that was like an hour about this. So that's in the recent, but as part of the same script where we're hitting the enemy, so this finds enemies and hits them, we're also finding barrels. So because the name of this script that's attached to the barrel is barrel script, we're finding all the barrels in any of the colliders that were hit. So we have a capsule collider attached to the barrel, and so that will be found with this this overlap sphere. So there's like a radius around each of the chain lightning balls, and this will find all the barrels that are in the area, and we're just calling b.blowup because we made this section of the code its own method, and it's public, so we can call it from here. So if it finds a barrel script in any of the colliders that it finds inside of this sphere, then it can call the blow up method on them, which will make all of the barrels in that radius blow up. So that's gonna probably be it for the day. Let's see if this is working. Let's see if we could hit this here. So it's not working. Oh, because we didn't make the visual effect. So let's go ahead and attach a visual effect to this. So we made that in the other barrel, barrel visual effect, barrel explosion. Here we go. So let's go ahead and attach this here. And we just need to press play on it and see if it actually looks good. So it could be too small or too big or something. Okay, and by adding this here, you can see that it reset all the transform settings to random settings. So we'll just hit reset in the top right here so it actually happens on the barrel. And let's hit play again. All right, it's looking good. Let's just move it up so it explodes from the top. And there's lots of explosion type visual effects out there. So this is just a thrown together thing. So you could definitely probably make something better than this if you want to. We want the initial event name to be, actually we do want it to be on play, and we'll disable it by default so it doesn't play when the thing happens. So because if you don't, it will just play the second that you walk into the room or you start. So let's see if it works now. Okay, it's still not working. The material is not applying. What did we name the hits? Did we name it hit number? What did we name it? We probably named it the wrong thing. Yeah, so okay, so in this, we named it hit number, but in the actual shader graph, it's named hits. So let's go back to the shader graph and rename the variable hit number. And it auto-updated the reference, so that's great. So let's run this again. And the default needs to not be 2. So right now it's defaulting to 2, and that's fine. So let's go to the material for this. And we'll just change the hit number to 0. The default should be 0, and then that way it changes after you hit it. Okay, and the explosion could maybe be a little bit bigger. I'm probably going to work a lot more on the explosion. There's this is just an explosion of particles. So to make a visual effect graph, you can right click at the bottom and click create visual effect graph. And then if you don't see visual effect graph there, you can go to window at the top, and you could go to the package manager and just type in the word visual. And one of the options should be visual effect graph. You can install it here and then it will show up at the bottom. This is pretty much the default. So I've replaced the constant spawn with a single burst. So the constant spawn that starts there is something you just delete, and you can press spacebar and add a burst like this. It's 250 particles, which is kind of it's not really a lot for the visual effect graph. We're setting the position of the particles to be in a sphere, and then we're adding the velocity to be the position of the because it's set in a sphere. So the velocity will be from this center of 0, 0, 0 towards where each of the parts were. So this will make the particles all explode towards the direction that they are away from the origin. And then I'm just using the default particle for right now. Like I said, I'm probably going to change this explosion at some point. I just wanted to make the video, but I'm also lowering the size over life to be almost nothing. And then at the end, I'm setting the color so the alpha can start at max, and then it can go down to 0 over the life of the particle. These colors are pretty bright to start with orange, and then right at the very end we just make it completely yellow so that the end of it fizzles out as like a yellow let me create a prefab out of this. Hang on. So we'll make this prefab down here, and then that way we can copy this back into the scene in case we mess it up. So let's unpack this, and we will duplicate it a couple times. Okay, and you can see, like, if you hit this, it blows up, and then chain lightning blows them all up. So that's going to be it for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. The entire video is available for download for, sorry, not the video. The entire project is available for download for free in the description of the video. This barrel that I've made, the model, is also going to be available for free, including the textures, and I'll also put the scratch pictures in as well. You're welcome to use any of this stuff in your game. I don't really care. This is just something I'm doing for fun. So like I said, if you guys are enjoying it or you download any of my stuff, make sure you like my video and subscribe to my channel and stuff. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.